Welcome to the Green River Region 2024 Habitat Overview. I'm Kevin Spence, the Green River Habitat Biologist. This video provides a summary of precipitation and weather-related information emphasizing effects to big game and other wildlife, ongoing mule deer habitat assessments, and habitat enhancement efforts occurring in the region. The Green River Region covers most of southwest Wyoming, including southern Lincoln, Uinta, and most of Sweetwater and western Carbon counties. The regional boundary on this map is the red line in the southwest corner. The Green River region contains all or portion of mule deer initiative herds, including the southern ends of the Wyoming range and sublet herds and most of the Baggs mule deer herd. The area encompassing the Baggs mule deer herd is covered by Britt Burdett, the Saratoga habitat biologist. Each of the mule deer initiative herd units are labeled and shown here in shaded green with blue outlines. The Mule Deer Initiative, or MDI herds, were designated by the Wyoming Game and Fish Department over concerns with declining populations where there has been a need to increase the public's awareness on issues affecting mule deer, enlist public involvement, and promote conservation of the species and its habitat. The remaining non-MDI deer herds in the Green River region include the Uinta and South Rock Springs herds. Although the South Rock Springs herd is not part of the Mule Deer Initiative, it remains very popular with hunters. The quantity of wildlife forage is dependent on the timing and amount of annual precipitation for grass and forage production, as well as shrub annual leader growth. High volumes of mountain snowpack and spring moisture is essential for summer forage productivity to meet the high energy demands for does and cows during lactation, buck and bull antler horn growth, and attaining stored fat energy reserves for fall rut, migration, and winter survival. Adequate spring moisture is critically important in the lower elevation sagebrush steppe to promote herbaceous vegetation and associated insect populations for sage-grouse chick survival. Moisture through the growing season in these sagebrush steppe habitats are vital for pronghorn forage through most of the summer months. Severe drought can have a toll on low elevation sagebrush areas such as the South Rock Springs mule deer herd, and cause as much mortality as some winters, when does quit nursing and fawns either die during the summer or enter winter unfit for survival. Habitat biologists evaluate annual and seasonal precipitation models and data for key mule deer herds in the Green River region. This information is summarized annually and assists wildlife biologists with season setting and herd unit objective review decisions. This graph shows the precipitation trends during the past 6-year period for all combined seasonal ranges in the Wyoming Range Mule Deer Herd Unit. The x-axis shows each year, and the y-axis shows precipitation in inches. Blue bars are the annual precipitation, and black dashed line is the previous 30-year annual precipitation for comparison. Annual precipitation for the 2024 water year was below the 30-year average. The orange bars represent the precipitation that occurred during the period from April to June. This precipitation is extremely important for early vegetative growth and vigor, setting the stage for annual forage production. The green dotted line, which shows the 30-year average April through June precipitation. The 2024 April through June precipitation was 3.5 inches and below the 5.1 inch 30-year average. The green bars are the spring, summer, and fall precipitation for the growing season between May and the end of July across the entire herd unit. The green dashed line is the 30-year average. May through July precipitation was also below the 30-year average. Precipitation data for this herd suggests that less than optimal forage conditions occurred during 2024. This next graph is the precipitation trends for all seasonal ranges in the Baggs Mule Deer Herd Unit. Again, the blue bars are the amount of annual precipitation, which was lower in 2024 than the 30-year average amount shown by the black dotted line. Moisture events during the critical growing months for herbaceous and woody vegetation were below normal during the 2024 water year. And for the last 6 years, moisture during the critical growing months between April and June was below the 30-year average. Precipitation falling during these months is essential for plant growth at high elevations in this herd unit. Moving on to the South Rock Springs Mule Deer Herd Unit. This herd unit includes the popular hunting locations of Little Mountain, Pine Mountain, Aspen Mountain, and Kinney Rim. Annual precipitation in this herd unit was below the 30-year average in 2024, compared to the previous 2 years where annual precipitation exceeded the long-term average. 2024 April through June precipitation was below the 30-year average of 3.4 inches and lower than the previous 4 years. May through July precipitation in 2024 was below the 30-year average. Drier conditions during the 2024 growing season resulted in less than desirable vegetative conditions for mule deer and other wildlife in this high desert ecosystem. This graph from the National Integrated Drought Information System shows the Wyoming drought outlook as of March 11, 2025. A large portion of the Green River region is currently either not experiencing any drought issues or abnormally dry conditions. However, moderate drought conditions do exist in southwest Lincoln County. NRCS snowtail data as of March 13, 2025 shows the Green River region snowpack having snow water equivalent ranging from 93 to 108% of the median. Current snowpack at higher elevations across the region is very encouraging for soil moisture recharge and forage productivity during the upcoming growing season. Adequate growing season precipitation will be key for realizing desirable vegetative growth on summer ranges. As of March 16th, relatively mild winter conditions have persisted across the majority of the Green River region. November 2024 through February 2025 snowfall on low elevation winter ranges were variable across the region. With a few exceptions, monthly snowfall amounts on these winter ranges were generally below the long-term averages between November and February. Average winter 2024-2025 monthly temperatures recorded from locations near winter ranges were 1/2 to 7.5 degrees colder than the long-term monthly averages during November and January, and 3 to 6.5 degrees warmer than the long-term monthly average temperatures in December and February. Rapid habitat assessments, or RHAs, were first implemented by the department in 2015 to generally characterize conditions of important habitat types on the landscape within mule deer initiative herd units. Summarized RHA data are used as a habitat component by wildlife biologists during herd population objective reviews at 5-year intervals to evaluate whether or not deer numbers are in balance with sustaining habitat at an acceptable or higher quality condition. RHAs involve collecting data and evaluating numerous mule deer habitat components at different sites across all seasonal ranges each year. Currently, the department collects RHA data from rangeland, riparian, aspen, and special feature habitat types within the Green River region's MDI herds. In the Green River region during 2024, department biologists completed 1 aspen, 2 riparian, and 1 rangeland RHA totaling 113 acres for the Bags herd, and 4 rangeland, 2 aspen, and 1 riparian RHA totaling 159 acres for the Wyoming range herd. Several habitat enhancement efforts were conducted during 2024. Department crews completed 1,908 acres of sagebrush mowing treatment in mule deer transitional and winter ranges in the southern portion of the Wyoming range mule deer herd unit. Areas treated included 3 sites in the East Salem Ridge area south of Sage Junction. Sagebrush stands identified for mowing were dominated by older shrubs that lacked vigor and productivity. They also tended to exhibit denser canopies and limited associated grass and forage productivity. A fine-scale mosaic of mowed and unmowed sagebrush was used to create a blend of sagebrush-dominated patches and open areas with increased grass and forage productivity, and ultimately promote sagebrush age class diversity across this segment of crucial winter range, which will not fully be realized for the next 20 to 40 years when sagebrush plants have reestablished with enhanced vigor and nutritional browse. More immediate benefits are expected with increased forage species diversity and productivity in mode areas for meeting the nutritional demands for mule deer during the early spring migration. The mowing treatment will also stimulate resprouting of mountain shrub species in mixed-in sagebrush stands. Species such as serviceberry and antelope bitterbrush will resprout and grow vigorous and nutritious twig leaders the year following treatment for quicker response and browse availability. Aerial herbicide application was also applied simultaneously to mowed sites to maintain native herbaceous vegetation. The NRCS and Little Snake River Conservation District continued implementation of the valley and headwaters habitat treatments in the Bags area during 2024. Projects included removing encroaching juniper on 1,683 acres of mule deer migration corridor habitat, masticating 441 acres of key mixed mountain shrub species to promote younger, more nutritional browse for mule deer on summer range, 380 acres of mastication treatment to restore aspen habitat on summer range, and aerating 546 acres to reduce sagebrush canopy on summer range. Regional cheatgrass treatments are a collaborative effort involving weed and pest districts, BLM, conservation districts, NRCS, Forest Service, private landowners, conservation groups, the University of Wyoming, multiple funding sources, and the game and fish. BLM treated 29,372 acres of sagebrush grassland and mixed mountain shrub habitats with the Mazepeg to control cheatgrass on key mule deer, crucial winter range, and transitional ranges, and sage-grouse core habitat in southern Lincoln County during 2024. These treatments were not only designed generally to control cheatgrass to enhance native vegetation, but many sites were also targeting cheatgrass control to encourage favorable sagebrush mowing results. Many of these sites were followed up treatments of areas that had previously been treated. Cheatgrass is an aggressive, invasive winter annual plant that often outcompetes native vegetation and can become monocultures, negatively impacting landscapes and ecosystem function. Pre-emergent herbicide is applied with helicopter or fixed wing, and the selectiveness of the herbicide has little to no effect on growth of native perennial vegetation. Unfortunately, there are no one-and-done treatments. Rather, they are a control measure. Department biologists and partners monitor vegetation annually to determine when follow-up treatment is needed. Juniper removal treatments occurred in the South Rock Springs Mule Deer Herd Unit during 2024. Treatment areas were located in the Iron Mountain area near Little Mountain. This was a collaborative effort between the BLM, Muley Fanatic Foundation, WWNRT, and the department. The project aims to maintain the integrity and value of sagebrush grassland and mixed mountain shrub habitats for mule deer and other wildlife by removing encroaching juniper trees. Treatment results are expected to maintain a blend of quality deer feeding areas and proximity to bedding, thermal, and security cover provided by established juniper woodlands. Project implementation involves contracted crews hand cutting and piling juniper trees on 695 acres of encroached shrub habitat. These pile trees will be allowed time to adequately dry, and prior crews will then conduct prescribed /pile burns during the winter months to complete the project. Wildlife-friendly fences encourage big game passage while minimizing entanglement. Contractors converted 11.8 miles of net wire and 5 and 6 strand fence to 4-wire wildlife-friendly specifications at the Grizzly Wildlife Habitat Management area near Bags during 2024. The department and volunteers also converted an additional 2.8 miles of WHMA fence. The WHMA is managed cooperatively between the department and BLM and provides nearly 38,000 acres of important habitat for many wildlife species, but has been proven to be especially crucial for mule deer given the recent GPS collar data. Much of the WHMA is within the Bags Mule Deer Migration Corridor and contains several vital stopover areas. In another effort, NRCS, Lincoln Conservation District, WWNRT, and the Game and Fish partnered to replace 11.7 miles of net wire and 5 and 6 strand fence to 4-wire wildlife-friendly specifications on private lands along big game migration routes in the Cokeville area. Game and Fish personnel, along with assistance from local volunteers, modified wire spacing on a half mile of Highway 789 right-of-way fences near Dad. This section of fence had previously been a lay-down fence, but at some point had been permanently fixed to the post. The fence modification is expected to facilitate primarily pronghorn and some deer passage across the highway during migrations. The cumulative effects of all these fence conversions are extremely important for facilitating passage of big game between seasonal ranges. Thank you for your interest in wildlife habitat and taking time to watch this video. If you have any questions about what was presented, please contact Britt or me.